Okie doke. Um, oh, Jesus. Um, yeah, I was like thinking all day about like what music would be like appropriate in the background for a stream like this, because it's probably going to be really uncomfortable if the stream is kind of just me talking at everybody. Um, like, but I don't think I feel like the subject matter is heavy enough that there's not really a tune I could put it to that makes it less comfortable. Soft music, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there would be anything worth. I mean, something would be nice, but like I don't know, this isn't a chill vibes kind of stream, you know what I mean? Also, I'm a part of me being light is alleviating my nerves. TBH. Um Also, I mean, I'm gonna give a bunch of like heads up disclaimers, whatever in a minute, in a couple minutes even. Um, but like I will say I am fucking exhausted. I'm so I'm so tired. And so I might be a little slow. I might have even less energy than I thought I was gonna have for this. But I still want to do it, partially because I already rescheduled the stream. And I don't like the idea of rescheduling it again because then it's like, okay, at what point am I like putting it off? And also to that point, I want it done because I've wanted it for a while. Um, yeah, I feel like I don't want to say too much until it's like not that like I need people here. If anything, this is just so it's like out there. Music vibe might be difficult to get for this stream considering the subject matter. Music might be unnecessary. Yeah, I mean like I feel like this isn't a like it's not gonna be a fun stream. Um, like I mean I said it in the announcement, but like if you have fun in hearing, which by the way this would be fine with me. If you have fun in hearing like just stories about like awful things that happened and going, wow, what the fuck, that's awful, then like yeah, I guess this will be a pretty fun stream, I guess. But like I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a chill vibe stream. I don't think it's gonna be a fun stream, and I think it's okay to just let this stream be what it's gonna be. I could probably get closer to my mic a little bit. No, I'm probably fine. Um, yeah. I have like a bunch of stuff to like that I want to hydrate. Thank you. I might turn off channel point reward redeems though. Ex I will just trust everyone. I did not take my meds, and I will fix that. That's what I'll use this couple minutes for. That's a good idea. I lied. I'm not gonna turn off sound alert or channel point rewards. I did turn off sound alerts, and I believe I turned off the alert box as well. Hmm. Okay. Trusting chat can turn out bad. That's true. I guess it's more like the most it can do is be quietly disruptive on the sidebar right now. Um, in my mind, if they can't do anything to like audibly disrupt the stream, then like it's probably fine. Probably. Anyone that is being bad will get banned. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Depends on how I feel as I talk more, I guess. Or how mods are feeling. I don't know. Hmm. I guess I can kind of get like I'm already here. I don't need to like hit a mark. Like I said, this isn't like a fun stream. It doesn't need to like start right at 2. I'd rather just get into it. Because just sitting here is kind of awkward. Oh, excuse me. Um, sorry, swallowing my estrogen. You never feel lenient? Good, honestly. Good for you. I was gonna say W. I feel like there's something. Okay, no more sillies. Me, Nix, no more sillies. No one's, everyone's fine. I'm just like, can you tell I'm a little nervous? Is it coming across? Um, so that's quite a stream title. Um, like, um, I wanted to talk about something, or sort of a lot of somethings, I guess, but it's all part of one really big something. Um, that kind of contributed to why I needed to take a break. And I've taken a lot of breaks. And when I say I guess I include Emily in that particular I. We've taken a lot of breaks a lot of times over the years. However many years it's been, like 4, 5. Um, we've taken a lot of breaks. And we have just been like, yeah, we got really busy, which is usually what it is. But this time it was very different. Um, it was a really big thing that needed a lot of processing. Um, that uh, an emotional break instead of being busy. Yeah. Like this was a pretty big thing. Um, and in some sense, it's to explain why I was gone, but I think it's a little more than that. Um, like it's also a thing of just like we really want to put it out there, like what we went through. And there's kind of a couple of reasons for that. Um, reason like the biggest reason probably, or maybe second biggest, I don't know. One of the biggest reasons is just like I said, like I just want it out. I just want to put it out. Like I've talked to some people individually about it. But I feel like until I have it just like out there, the weight won't be like truly lifted. So there's that. Um, I guess I should say this is about uh this is about an ex of mine um who did some really shitty things, and if it was just that, then like I wouldn't be here right now. Like I wouldn't be talking about any of this because like exes are shitty sometimes, and sometimes like relationships go bad. But um, there's a very specific kind of. I mean, as the fucking like content warnings imply, this is like a pretty bad thing. Even then, I don't know that I would talk about it. But based on things that I know about this person, who for the moment like remaining anonymous, I'm not gonna use her actual name at all, and I'll explain why that's the case as well. Um, but knowing certain things about her and about like certain hobbies, I guess, um, there is a world where sometime in the future, she is like a popular to any extent figure, um, like a prominent person in a particular place. Um, And so I feel like it would be good for me to have all of this somewhere so that in the event that were to happen, at that point I could say, hey, like, be be careful out there, basically. Um and even as I say it right now, like explaining it, I still feel worried that I'm going to come off petty or like dramatic is probably the wrong word, but like I think part of why it's not let me name this person right now. Um like use this person's name um is in part because it's like I don't want it to be a thing of like, well, I'm just super bitter, and so I went on and talked a bunch of shit or whatever, or like aired dirty laundry or something like that. Um, but also it's like I said, like that kind of popularity or kind of figure of some kind status is potential. It's not a thing right now, and so like I don't know. I think in my mind it's like I don't know. It's this complicated thing because on the one hand, like I want this to be here so that if I feel I need to, I can point to this and say, "Hey, warning, like be careful," or like or whatever. Um but at the same time, it's like I do like want and maybe I'm wanting this because it's something that happened to me and maybe that's something unfair I'm doing to myself or maybe I'm just being reasonable. But it's like I believe in opportunities for people to change and grow. And so the idea potentially of like me naming this person and then someday down the road I'm like a way bigger streamer and then people are going back through my VODs and they watch this and they're like, "Oh, who's this name person?" Um and like I don't know, like it's such a big extrapolation of what would ever happen. But like a world where like 5 years have passed, she's a much better person, but for whatever reason somebody looks at me saying something here and then uses that to whatever to make assumptions or mistreat or whatever. And I feel like that has a bit of contention with the idea that I would at some point de-anonymize this. I don't know. I guess I have a lot of feelings about it at once. Um, and another thing that kind of compounds that is, as far as like gender identity goes, um, like if I were talking about a cis person, hello, hello, hi, hi. If I were talking about like a cis person who had treated me the way that she treated me, and 5 years were to pass and someone were to find this, it would not mean quite as much as like the trans femme person who did this to me, and then 5 years pass, like they're going to have it held to them harder than someone else would. And which side of that equation is the wrong one? I don't know. In that case, you can point back to this and show that if they have grown as a person and changed, they shouldn't be demonized. Yeah, I think yeah, yeah. I think that's true. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. There's also, I think, a really glaring thing that some people might point out, especially if you're in my Discord, because there is someone who like did do things that I was like, hey, this person has been removed because they did these things. And I would understand someone who looks at that and goes, okay, so what's this double standard here? then. Um, I think if it weren't for the fact that, and I'm not going to name them here, but that the other person that I've like made an announcement about was named was because the things they did affected people in that server, and also they were a very like they were prominent to my Discord and to my Twitch channel. They were a mod of the stream. Um so I do feel like it's a little different. I suppose still feel free to make your own judgments on that, but in my mind it is a different situation. Um yeah. It wasn't a private relationship, it was a public behavior. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Um yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Um I'm only stalling a little bit. So, um I guess I guess I should kind of just like lay down some stuff. Um you can feel free to ask like clarifying questions, I guess, just like generally. I can't imagine why one might come up, but if you feel the need to do that, like you can. Obviously, there are certain things that I would rather you didn't ask for more details on, and I think I don't even think I need to say what the kind of thing would be. Um, but generally speaking, like you can ask clarifying questions if you so please. You I suppose can react to things if you want to. If I end up feeling uncomfortable sharing things, that's okay, and there's no pressure to. Hey, I really appreciate that like a lot. That means the world. Thank you so much. But I think I really do want to share it. Um, like even if I'm nervous right now, it will feel better to have it out at some point. Um, and I think now is a great point to do it. Um, because the second best time to do it was yesterday, and the third best time was the day before. Um, Also, like again, I'm very tired, so like my retelling of this is gonna be imperfect. I have like a bunch of notes, basically to keep me on track. This is only like a third of the forefront of my mind right now, and like my memory just generally isn't very good. My brain is like probably going to be arguing with me over whether or not I should be fronting right now. So like that's gonna make memory difficult. Um, so like I have notes, and so that might make it feel awkward or stilted. It's gonna be difficult for me to get out at times, and so that might make it feel difficult. Just like bear with me, please, and I'm sorry if I go a little bit slow for any of those reasons as well. Um, uh, I don't know if I need to lay anything else out. On particular things, Cass, you can feel free to keep me honest at any time that you feel I'm unfair about anything, because like this is also relevant to Cass, I will say, and I believe Cass is cool with me saying this, so I hope I didn't just like misremember that. Um, well, yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Never mind. I definitely didn't misremember that. But yeah, you can feel free to be like, hey, like to be clear, blah 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 blah. Except that's not what it would sound like, because you would be reasonable. Um, okay. I think that's enough like preamble, probably. Um, Also, well, no, yeah. I think I'll just go for it. Um, so a lot of this is probably going to seem a little like disjointed and kind of just like I don't know. I think towards the beginning it's not going to be very clear. Well, no, because towards the beginning it's still a lot of bad stuff too. Sorry, I'm just my brain is fried. Um, I'm just gonna kind of get into it. I think instead of trying to give more preamble, no more stalling, no more preamble. I say while stalling and preambling. So before we found out we were plural, Emily, our original, also original person who made this channel, um, had this friend group that has kind of been a friend group for years and years and years. Um, of these people, one of them was definitely the person that she was least close to. Um, but at some point, a couple years back, maybe it was a little over a year back, maybe it was a year and a half, I don't know. Um, for when she came out as trans femme, and we're gonna call her Arya. That's the name that we're gonna anonymize with. We're gonna call her Arya. Um, Arya came out as trans, and that alone kind of built a little bit more between the two of them. Uh, they also got into fighting games through a mutual friend, and so that brought them a little bit closer. And then eventually, Emily, Arya. This is another reason I'm going to take it slow because I want to be very careful to continue to use specifically this name and not the name she actually goes by, her actual name. Um, Emily, Arya, and their mutual friend plan to go on a trip to Evo, this big fighting game convention. It's not really important what it is, but it was this big trip. Um, and Emily stayed with their mutual friend for a little bit before the trip, and then they and this mutual friend's family all went to like pick her up from the airport. And the moment that Arya got in the car, Emily and Arya just clicked so hard. Like, just I feel like in minutes they were the closest of that friend group. Like it just instantly like very, and that's a bit of an exaggeration, but just instantly like very comfortable with each other. I totally forgot to move over here. I also forgot to hop in VC to get on here. I like my brain seriously is fried. Jesus Christ. I don't know if PNG is appropriate, but I'm putting it here anyway. Um, you're gonna say, but you weren't sure if it was intentional. That's fine. That's chill. Um, so like, they instantly got really close. Um, and by really close, I more mean just like comfortable, and they made each other laugh, and like they were having a good time. They might as well have already been like as close as they were with everybody else the whole time. Um, before going to Vegas for Evo, uh, Arya and Emily were still staying at this mutual friend's house. And there were like two extra rooms that they slept in. One of them had a really comfortable bed. One of them had a really shitty bed. And like we knew that this bed was shitty ahead of time, but I think Arya underestimated how shitty it was. And so Arya comes in to Emily's room and is just like, hey, feel free to say no, but that bed feels like garbage. Do you mind if I sleep in your bed with you? And Emily, I think reasonably, is just like, yeah, like I don't care. It's a really big bed. It's way more comfortable. Whatever. This is all fine. This is all totally chill. But I feel that Arya kind of got a few inches and took several miles from there. Um, it was very open knowledge that Emily and Cass had been in a relationship for years now. Like, years now. A monogamous relationship for years. And I think it is important to note that, like, for both Emily and Arya, this is interaction with one of two of like the first like mutual transfem friendships, like in person, hanging out. And so there is some amount of that is like, okay, like like maybe there's some understandable leeway of like, well, how comfortable do we expect girls to be with each other or something like that? I guess. But things definitely went past that. Um like being comfortable changing in the same room. Yeah, whatever. Like holding hands even. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's just a little thing. But during this, and I think during that Vegas trip and maybe a little bit after, Arya definitely like I think definitely was making advances. Um was making advances and very much pushing boundaries in a very big way. Um like tried to like initiate something or other, pushed boundaries. Well, like at one point. Um Also like this whole time, by the way, I'm very like paranoid that I'm going to say her actual name. I can't stop saying it. Yeah, same. Same here. This is also hitting me a little harder than I thought it would. Um, at the time, and I think even immediately after, there was a big part of Emily that was still like that was just like kind of weird, and like maybe it like the boundaries just like weren't that clear. Um, that kind of thing. And but I think probably after some discussion with Cass, if I'm not mistaken, Emily was like, "Hey, cut that out. We need to stop that. That's not cool." You may add details, yes. Um, please keep in mind, I know you will, but please keep in mind the anonymity that I'm trying to give. Um, but yes, you can add details. And while he's doing that, like this was also like yeah, this was a breach of like Emily's boundaries, but this was also a breach of Cass's boundaries. Um like something that really hurt him because like this relationship was known about, right? Um and so I'm like Arya did not really have any drive to go like apologize for this or anything. So Emily was like, "Hey, you should probably like go apologize for that because like that's just like when you make advances on someone's girlfriend, knowing that they're someone's girlfriend, knowing that they're monogamous, that's probably the thing that at the very least that you should do." That didn't happen. Emily pushes again, like, hey, you should really apologize. Doesn't happen. Couple weeks pass. Emily's like, hey, just a reminder, following up. You really probably should apologize. And it doesn't happen. Um, and before I move on, I'm gonna let Cass add what they have to say. Well, I recollect a little thing. A little thing, a little bit. I need to like make a sticky note for myself that just says in big bold letters the name that I'm actually like using for the purposes of this. Except my keyboard isn't working. Okay. Neat. Oh no, it is. Okay, my sticky note just isn't working. That's fine. Oh, oh my God, I forgot about that. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. That was another thing. Um, like, uh, I mean, that's really the big thing. Like, asking Cass, and I mean, like, do you mind if I complete the sentence there? Like, I think this was after the trip, like over a phone call or something. But it asks Emily if Emily and Cass would like want a threesome, which is kind of weird. um, yeah, like really, really odd, especially considering that like Arya doesn't know Cass, um, at all, like at all. Um, so like pretty odd, I'd say. But that was shut down. Emily shut that down, and that stopped. Apologies were asked for multiple times, didn't happen. Fast forward to September. We are uh, in college, um, and uh, uh, basically we discover that we're plural at college. Um, and this was a very big thing to kind of. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What year? This was last year, September of last year. We discovered we were plural. Um, and like a discovery like this is very difficult to. I mean, it was exciting in a lot of ways. Um, it was scary in a lot of ways. I think it was also a little scary for, and this is going to be relevant. It was a little scary for Cass as well, which if any of you do any demonizing, I will personally kill you. Because like if you are someone who has not had like personal, like very direct interaction with plurality, or discovering that someone's plural, or like if you are not someone who has like known someone a while, and then suddenly that person is a different person for a large portion of the time, if you haven't had that experience, I don't think that you would have a place to say that, like, that's bad. I think it's fully understandable. This is the person that Cass spent time with all the time, and that time would now be split, and there would be people that essentially he hadn't met before. Yes, 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 yes. And like this was also during a very stressful time where Em and Cass were having very, very stressful conversations about their relationship. That's a very good point to add. And so like there was a lot of just like stress and changes and stuff going on at the time. And so it was very difficult for Cass. And I'm not proud of this at all. But later in October, when I realized that I've existed for a little bit, not a dig whatsoever being a bit pushed, rushed. I would agree. Yes, that is very true. Um, I'm not proud of this, but when I kind of realized I existed in October, um, I was not a fan of the attitude. And I realize now that it was a perfectly understandable attitude to have. There was so much happening, and there was a lot of scary things happening. But at the time, like, imagine you wake up, and it's not even you wake up and you're just in a totally different body in a totally different world and you don't understand anything that's happening. Imagine you wake up and, I mean, I feel like a chat full of trans people, this is going to be relatable. Imagine you wake up one day and realize, oh my God, the life I have been living has not been mine. I haven't been doing any of the things that I want to do. I haven't been any of the ways that I want to be, but I've been shoving that down and pretending to be the person everyone thinks I am without even realizing that that's what I'm doing. So when I realized that about myself, um, that was very emotional for me and very difficult for me. And so that also added to me. I also think I was like, I don't want to say overprotective because I feel like that puts it too nice for what I was doing. I did a lot of lashing out, I think. Very early on, Cass and I were not on good terms, I think. Oh, no, no, no. Don't even worry about it. Like, it's I think it was difficult for both of us, but I think the truth of the matter is like you you were feeling hurt and I was doing hurting. And that's not to say that none of the feelings that I had were valid, but I feel that you have less of a place to apologize from than I do, I think. Um Whew. Very different from this reaction was Arya. Arya, who didn't know nearly as much about plurality in the first place as Cass did, um, thought it was like really cool, and was really excited to meet new people. And hell, she helped me pick my name. She helped me find the name Nyx, if I remember correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'd feel really bad if I was wrong. But I believe that she helped me pick my name. Um, so like I was very gravitated to her already. Um, I think it's also important to note that like being in this situation, I'm in a very vulnerable place. And being in a situation, and I think these were a lot of things that I shared with Arya at the time, being in a situation where I'm like, I want to actively make myself different than Emily because I'm so tired. Like, because I've realized now that I don't need to be being quotation marks Emily, realizing that I am my own person and I can be my own person. I wanted to stray away from M as much as I could. I think I was in a very vulnerable place, freshly discovered. And so over this time, and I talk a bit more. A couple days after I form, I think I'm just in a really emotional state or I'm like really frustrated about something or other. Arya, shit. Did I? Hmm. That's okay. Like the moment this goes up on Twitch, like I'm gonna download it, and then once it's downloaded, I'm deleting it off. It happens. I like what's more important to me is that the this is saved in a way that is anonymous. And so I will just delete it when it's over. Um that's fine. Can you can you be my very best friend and write down timestamp summer for me? Can you write down about 42 minutes for that one? So that I know where to go back, and thank you so much. Um like 3 days into realizing I exist or something like that. Um Arya, she like helps me through some stuff and she's like, I know. Why don't we listen to some music I really like? I can show you some music I really like. Um and I mean, she shows me some music and we have a really nice time, and I have the memory to know that like this isn't something Arya did with Emily. This isn't something Arya did with Robin or Cherry, the other two people who existed at the time. If Umbra existed by now, she didn't do it with Umbra. She only did it with me. And so that, I mean, that felt very special, obviously. And also, when we were, when we were listening to stuff, and Arya says something along the lines of like, "Wow, I've just like never felt this good around somebody before," or something along those lines. Um, that really swayed me, I guess. And so, like, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, only 2 weeks into knowing that I exist, Arya and I were an item. Like, she asked me to be her girlfriend, and I was excitedly said yes. Um, hey folks, don't do that. I know like online dating is a thing where you just like find somebody and blah 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 blah. But I don't know. I also I think I'm gonna say it now rather than later. But my feeling about this is that Emily and Robin were in a monogamous asterisk relationship with Cass, and I was not. And Cherry was only ever a little at the time. Like, yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yes. It wasn't just like 2 weeks of knowing each other. I had literally just started existing. Like, or at least knowing that I exist, existing any kind of consciously, you know? Like, I was still, I might as well have been new. Um, yeah. And so what I think it was at this point was that I was someone in Emily's body who she viewed as sexually available. And yeah, we're getting into that now. Um oh, sorry. No, no, no. So 2 weeks in, we start dating. A day, maybe 2 days max. But if it is 2 days later, that might be worse. 2 days later, Arya calls me and is like, "Yeah, today was rough. I broke up with my girlfriend today." And at first I'm like, Oh, is this like a silly thing? Wait, what do you mean? That's silly. You didn't break up with me. I didn't say all that. That was all in my head. But I went like, what? What? And Arya goes, yeah, the girl who I was dating, I before you, I broke up with her. I mean, okay, so I will be clear. I remember very well that this conversation happened. If that was the way it was presented, I'm not 100% sure. That's the inkling I have of how that happened. Um, that's how I believe that happened. That's what my memory says right now, but my memory is very fuzzy. I just do know that that conversation happened. Which I think that probably should have also been a thing that I said is like, I'm reaching through a cloud of fluff to get to these memories. Um, like, plural memory is complicated, but like I can just promise you that like I've never made up a memory. Um, certainly not anything like this. Um, so I mean, I guess you can take that as you will, but like, yes, yes. And this was a thing I think that was talked about like the moment it happened. Also, Cass is going to know a lot about this because despite everything, I was very open with him about things. Yes, a partner I didn't know about. Like I did not know that Arya was dating anybody. That was complete news to me. Um I don't know if anybody knew. Like anybody in our friend group knew that Arya was dating anybody, which is also kind of like a red flag. Um and I later found out um like that I'm pretty sure none of our mutual friends knew that we were dating either. The reason that like I didn't say anything is because technically those are Emily's mutual friends. Not that I'm not friendly with them or that I don't like them or anything, but like again, this whole like being different from Emily thing, like I had a whole complex at the time. Um, so like at this point when I learned this, I feel like already like I should have left. I should have gone, okay, that's the type of person you are. I get it. I think there's a lot of things to I know I just said it all, but I just want to go over some things again. Like, I was basically new. I had this whole complex about, like, being different from Emily. I, like, I was made to feel very, very special. Um, and so I think in my mind, I was like, wow, that's really, really shitty to that girl. But, like, I guess I just, like, I guess it was just a thing of, like, yes, that is definitely true. That is definitely true. Um, yes. Like I think it was like no, absolutely. No, absolutely 1,000%. And that's very fair. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I caught that. Yeah. I would say that that was a pattern. That went past that. Um, but I'm not gonna get into that as much, I think. But I think it is important to note that like that was what was happening. Um, I think it was like I was like, I don't know, it's really scummy that Arya would seemingly like have these girls that she's just kind of dating in the meantime. That does seem pretty bad. But like she's not that bad, and she made me feel really good, and she made me feel really special. And I mean, like she broke up with her for me. Not a good thought process. Not a thought process that I'm proud of at all. Um, like at all. I wish I had had stronger empathy in that moment. Um, at the same time, at the same time as that, that immediately put in my head, like, but I could be that disposable. Like, I could be someone who just gets discarded for one reason or another. Because I wasn't told who this person was. I never knew this person's name. And none of us like knew that she existed, you know? And a lot of this is like retrospective, but like I don't know, it definitely immediately tinted things. We're gonna fast forward again to uh November, late November. Yeah, absolutely. Late November, maybe it was mid-November. I don't remember the time exactly. I really hope they're doing okay too. Somewhere like mid to late November. Um, like uh Arya wanted to drive up to the college, which was like a 2+ hour drive to get there to like hang out. And I was like, yo, that rocks. That's so awesome. Like getting to hang out with my girlfriend. She wants to hang out with me so bad. Uh, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm asexual. So like, she did know this, by the way, and that is going to be important. Oh, will that be important? She was well aware that I'm asexual, but my asexual ass was like, oh my gods, Arya wants to hang out with me so bad that she's willing to drive like 2.5 hours to my college to hang out and sleep in my tiny little bed in my shitty little dorm. Um, so generally a good time, but while we're there, at some point, and this bit is fine, fine enough, I guess. At one point, she asks like, basically like, hey, you you wanna do something, and I'm gonna put it that way because I'm on Twitch. And also because it's uncomfortable. Her just asking that is fine. I go, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm ready to do that. I don't know. I kind of wanted to go slow. I'm not sure I'm ready to do something like that yet. I don't know if I expressed out loud that I wanted to go slow, thinking about it, because I do remember that Arya then asked, like, why, like, what makes you so hesitant? And like, I don't know. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't think I'm ready for that. This does not get taken for an answer. Maybe there are like 5, 10, maybe even 20 minutes where we just like hang out or like watch something. But eventually she'll circle back to it again and be like, hey, but like really, like, why not? You know? Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000%. Yeah. And I think part of what I expressed was also like feeling nervous. I'm remembering it more. I was like, I don't know, I don't think I'm ready for that. And it was like, well, what makes you hesitate? I don't know. I guess maybe I'm nervous about it. I don't know. But I think that was after several like what makes you hesitate, you know? After push and push and push and push and push, I feeling nervous is also an indication to stop pursuing. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's going to be something I'm going to repeat probably several times. Just because I wasn't giving a hard no doesn't mean it wasn't a no. I don't think I'm ready for that. That's a no. It's like there's no argument to be had there. That's a no. But after push and push and push and push, eventually I go like cuz she says like, "Well, how about you just try it? How about you just try it and like see how you feel about it, and if you don't like it, we can stop." And I mean, I was going to say like how it felt to me, but I don't think it even matters like my thought process for going fine, yes. But like gross. Like what a gross way to go about that. And no patience at all, truly. Like at this point we've been dating for like a month. Like in person for the first time ever. Even after this point, even after I finally gave in and said fine, okay, I'll give it a shot. She tries to push further. Say, "Hey, well, you're doing this just fine." This isn't the way that she said it. This is a heavy, 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 heavy paraphrase. Basically, it was like, well, hey, like, why not now? Like, do you want to try this other thing? And it basically is the same process as the first process. It's another, no, I don't think I'm ready for that. And I think I even said, like, I've already gone a step past my comfort zone. Like, you've gotten what you're getting out of me. And I think there were a few more pushes on that. And then it was, and then that was finally done with for the moment. Yeah, I believe I didn't end up going further than that at that point. But I was quickly pushed to be comfortable doing more uh more. Fast forward another little bit. I am back from college. I'm visiting Aria often. Um, Going over to her house to hang out and like hang out, get high, play games, whatever, watch stuff. And every single time, without fail, that we get to her room, it is essentially just unspoken expectation that we immediately move to sex. Um, like the first time that I was brought there, Arya like starts taking off her clothes, and I'm asexual and autistic, and so I was like, yeah, like it's kind of warm. We should get more comfortable. Or like, we're alone, we can get a little more comfortable, whatever. Um, I don't know. It's a little stupid that I didn't kind of pick up on it, but um pretty quickly I realized like, oh, okay. This is what she wants to do every time that we get back. Thank you. I appreciate that. And like I did often go like, "Hey, I'm just not down for that. I think I wouldn't shut it down until it started to get there. Like, I think I just silently hoped that, like, okay, like, we're just gonna be chill past this though, right? And then, like, once it was, like, last second, I was like, I don't think I want to do that. Um, um, do you have someone you loved and you said they loved you breaking your boundaries after they were so clearly set was so absurd that it didn't occur to you that it was happening? You're not stupid, you were trusting. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also agree, you're not shy about that. You always at least make people ask. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. um, at a certain point, I think like we were in the middle of stuff and I was like, I need to stop. And like one of many times I think that I was very distraught about having to stop. Because the thing is, and I guess anyone who's gone through anything similar would probably know, like, you don't want to, the last thing you want is to be disappointing. And I think that is compounded by being asexual, because there is a lot of, like, pressure to perform as an asexual. Like, yes, yeah, especially when you're ace. Exactly, yeah. Yeah. It's just you should be, whether it's just, well, you're a person and clearly a person would want this, so you should do that, or it's like, yeah, you're ace, but like, come on, can't you do it for me? Like that kind of thing. And for me it's like, well, but if it's something that makes her happy, then blah 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 blah. And I don't think I thought of it explicitly like that, because if I had, then I would realize, like, whoa, what the fuck, right? um what if they no longer accept me being ace because I'm not putting out enough? Yeah, that's true too. um and so, like, when I would finally give in to all the discomfort and go, hey, I really need to stop, it would be like I would start crying. Like, um that would happen pretty decent amount. And one of the times that that happened, I finally was like, like, there's just like a lot of pressure that I feel to perform as an asexual, basically what I just told you guys. And like, I'll give her the credit that she does go, hey, like, have I done anything to add to that pressure? And I'm like, and she's like, you can be honest. I'm like, I mean, yeah, like, honestly, you do. And she basically, I mean, here's the apology that she gave. Um, Vaguely along the lines, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I care immensely about boundaries. I would never want to break your boundaries. That's not the type of person that I am. I will work to not do that. And I feel like at first listen, I mean, probably this far into the story, um, probably doesn't sound like that good of an apology, but on the surface, it kind of sounds like a good apology. She said the words, "I'm sorry." That's a we've cleared the lowest bar we can. Um, but I don't know. Like, I care a lot about boundaries. That's not the person that I am. I would never want to do that. I feel it's important to note how saying this after pushing my boundaries until she gets what she wants multiple times already. Yes. Yeah. Like like being in it. Yeah. Cuz it's also like, cuz that's the thing is, like, it's very positioning her as like, oh, well, like, that's not the type of person I am. I would never want to do that. This isn't something Yeah, yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. I get you. Um, like after already pretty purposefully pushing my boundaries, going, "Oh, I would like that's not the type of person I am," is really bad. Um, Also, I would probably feel different about it now if something had like changed afterwards. And I think for like a visit or two, things would like calm down and she would do a lot of checking in. Maybe it was like 4 or 5 visits. I don't know. Arya would do more checking in, like would be more willing to stop, would be a lot more careful. But like very brief. And it pretty quickly went back to status quo. Um I Also, I think something that tints a lot of this is like Arya has been in a lot of relationships, and that's totally fine. That fact alone is fine. But that means that she is significantly more experienced than me, who at that point had not been in any relationships at all. The closest thing I had was like thinking I was Emily in a relationship with Cass, and like at the times when I was there, it didn't feel great. Not because I don't like Cass. I mean, Cass and I are dating now. I think Cass is wonderful, but like it was very clearly not my life at the time, and so like I really had no experience. Certainly no experience with the sexual relationship. In terms of like physical presence, right? Um, Let me talk about some of the ways that she did react to this, and some of the ways in which things also got worse. Um, I'm about to say something that's very like, Nix, why the fuck did you do that? Um, I think the answer is also inexperience. I'm going to say ahead of time, do not under any circumstances do this as early as I did in this relationship. I had gotten high when I gotten high for the first time. The Twitch friendly way of putting it was that I learned that it can change your libido a little bit. And so once I was sober, Ari and I were talking, and I was like, hey, honestly, like if we're high and like if I'm high and I'm a little more like down, like I'm not gonna feel gross about it after or anything. I mean, like if I'm down then, like I don't care about having done it. If I'm into it at the time, then like then cool. Do not fucking do that. Do not fucking you need to know somebody so much longer and be dating somebody so much longer and know what someone is like for so much longer before you hand over trust like that. And again, to Arya's credit, she'd go, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. Um, and I was like, no, really, like it's totally fine. And Arya was like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, you certainly don't have to feel good about it. I'm just letting you know how I would feel. It's very interesting to me that Arya expressed how uncomfortable she was with this because I think, yep, yeah. because both before and after that conversation about like pressure as an asexual, I think especially after, any time that I would express like not being down, immediately, immediately was just getting inebriated. And like sometimes immediately is an exaggeration. I remember one time that it was like paraphrased to say it on Twitch, but you down? No, no, not really. Oh, want to get tipsy? Or like want to get high, or whichever one that Arya had chosen. Like crazy. Crazy for someone who is like, I don't think I'd be comfortable with that. Um, there was also a push for us to do certain like wait, was that was that what it was? Was it after like me and Angel? That's crazy. That's crazy. Also, keep in mind throughout all of this, still no apology to Cass. Let's just keep like until I mention it again, Cass has still not gotten an apology for any of that shit. Um, at a lot of times, Arya would push for us to do certain things just kind of out of the blue. Um, trying to figure out a way that I can word this without just like going, "Hey, here's all the things Arya was into." Um, but like I'll say she wanted us to do things that were rough, kind of just out of nowhere. And 99% of the time, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't I don't really want to do that right now. Um or sometimes like because that didn't work, we'd try to kind of fit it in and be like, well, no, like I mean, wouldn't be good if I did that while you were expecting it or something like that. That also wouldn't work. I think no matter what, it was a come on, just one time. And I'm sure everyone in chat can can guess if it was just one time, one thing. Any of those times. Some more some more specific moments. Um one of them again many times that like I needed to stop and I just was crying. There was a time that like she like I had stopped crying but like tears hadn't stopped streaming down my face yet. Mhm. 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 Tears hadn't stopped streaming down my face yet. I hadn't stopped crying, but the tears had just finished. My face was not even close to dry and was like, well, like shall we get back into it or like whatever way that she said it, but that was like okay, your crying time is done. Um and and like at that point like I feel like obviously there's going to be more to the stream still, so I didn't say no and leave. Um Because there was a like that, like the amount of pressure in that to have barely finished crying about how distraught I am about what's happening. Uh, yeah. Um, Another time I needed to stop. Uh, and at this point I want to say getting better, but I don't know that I had much of that to do in this situation, but getting better at saying no sooner before I get to that point of being that distraught, even though many times no wasn't necessarily taken as an answer. One time I was like, I need to stop. Arya sits back and goes, well, like, I do have needs. I don't feel like those needs are getting met. And there was more to the sentence, but like at this point, I was like, am I about to be broken up with? Like in the middle of this? And I don't know. I don't know if I even want to say this part of it because I'm worried that I'm being unfair somehow. I was very worried that in some form that was the start of not taking no for an answer. Um, and maybe that's just me being overly anxious or like overly paranoid. Like I don't think anything other than what she was literally saying and just the history of kind of just ignoring my sexuality and ignoring my hesitance. Like like it's hard to say this because again, like as far as there's another thing that like as far as gender identity goes, like trans femmes get seen a certain way. And so like I don't like the idea of willy-nilly like putting out an idea like that about a trans femme, especially because like nothing happened because like it didn't happen, right? So like I don't know. I think I'll move on. I'm not sure if I should have said everything I just said. She says I don't feel like those needs are getting met. I've been wondering if I should look into other partners to meet those needs. And so here's the crazy thing about this. Emily and Robin in monogamous relationships. Me? I'm very open to polyamory. I'm extremely open to polyamory. The first time we were in person, I think maybe even before the first time we were in person, I had like had conversations about polyamory. I was very open to the idea. I was extremely open to the idea. But she was like, "Ah, I don't know. I just hadn't like thought about it a lot. I don't know that it's the kind of thing that I would do." But here, suddenly it's as if I hadn't been open to the idea and like had really wanted it. But like that's clearly not like what it was because I had a conversation where I was the one open to it. And so the only way that I can really read this is as a threat a little bit. That's at least that's like what I feel like it is. It's like you weren't into this idea before. You weren't into polyamory before. You didn't want that, and I was the only one who wanted that. But now you're trying to like use it as a threat against me. Maybe that's a bad read here. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not comfortable with this. And she goes, right now, and she goes, well, I have needs, and I don't feel like those needs are getting met. So I wonder if I should look at other partners to meet those needs. I've been thinking about it. I've already decided this is what I need to have and not like a, hey, I've been thinking. Do you feel about this? Also, that this wasn't like a conversation that we had outside of this. It was, I needed to stop. And so right now, right this second, she goes, well, then you're really not meeting my needs. And honestly, I've been wondering if like, it was a threat. She wanted to scare me. I don't know how else I could possibly read that. even still, like, my response was just like, yeah, I don't, sure. Which I think is probably not the right way to go about it, by the way. Like, that is not the level of, like, and honestly, like, let's be clear. I think it is a bad view. Polyamory is not, yeah, this person, I have my asexual girlfriend who won't have sex with me, and so I need to get another girlfriend who will. That's not what it is. It's possible for you to, in a polyamorous relationship, like, have someone that you have a strictly romantic relationship with and have another person that you might have a strictly sexual relationship with or have both with or whatever. Like, that can just happen. But, like, polyamory isn't, like, grabbing up all your needs. It's just having a certain love for multiple people. um, yeah. But nonetheless, I was like, yeah, sure. And in my head, it's like, especially if it means you stop trying to get sex out of me when I'm not into it. Which, that's not to say that I never was. Not that it really matters. Because one time that I am not into it, and it happens anyway, is too many. And it was way more than one. But okay, I was supportive of the idea. Within the next 2 days, it might have been the next day, it might have been 2 days after. It cannot have been more than that. I hold on. Give me another second, sorry. Can my mic turn back on? Okay, sorry, I knocked my mic over getting up. Sorry, someone like came in and then like didn't fully close. Dude, everything is falling apart. Okay. Someone came in, didn't close the door on the way out. One of the most annoying things you can do when I'm already like in a state, and then I just like unplugged my mic, and then I unplugged my headset, which fucked up all the sound. Okay. Anyway, cannot have been more than 2 days later. I really like maybe three, maybe. Arya like is on the phone with me and is like, "You should really meet my new girlfriend, who I'm not gonna name." She did. I won't. Within 2 or 3 days, and so to me, that's one of two things. I'm gonna go with the less bad thing. The less bad thing is that when she said, I thought I've been thinking about looking for like into like other partners, what she meant was, I have a specific someone in mind that I've been talking to that I'd like to start dating. But she didn't think about any of the like communication and like telling me about this person, having me meet this person, having this be like a conversation that doesn't happen in the middle of sex I don't want. Um, like, or what I think is what actually happened is that for whatever reason, she was already talking to this person, was already like in a relationship with this person, or was already basically there. I think she was already talking to her in a way like possibly a pattern similar to the girlfriend she broke up with when dating me earlier. Yeah, because I think there's a world that she was maybe imagining where I go, yeah, I'm not, like, I don't think I'd be okay with that. And she goes, well, I mean, if you're not meeting my needs, and then, like, just ditches me and goes with this new girl. Um, yeah. So, like, I, like, just, it's just so crazy because, like, I was so openly okay with polyamory. So it's like, why would this be the way that this went? Maybe it makes more sense for it to be that, like, she just was, like, already on her way to that. Um, yeah. Anyway, back to more kind of like reactions to me not being into things. One time, while we were both very inebriated, it was my first time, no, it was my second time getting crossed. um, I don't, I think the thing was like, there isn't an excuse to be talking to someone with the intent of dating them before talking about stuff with existing partners. Yes, I agree. I agree. Yeah, there's no excuse. It's just like emotional cheating. Absolutely. And it's like neither of these are good, but one of them is like more ridiculous. Seeing people be poly and cheat anyway, it's just a thing with people who have no respect for boundaries. And I guess that's a thing for me to think about there is like just I mean like I know it's not necessarily the thing that the stream is for, but like thinking about it, that's a really good point and something that I need to think about is that like cheating is cheating. It doesn't matter like because polyamory isn't the magic you can date anybody button. It's like it's just a different structure of relationships. Um so yeah, that's absolutely a good point. Um thank you very much for bringing that up. Um so I've been crossed I think a total of 2 or 3 times. First time it was a thing of either like drank first and then I got high and then it was just like fine and then I got high and then I drank. I think I got high and then I drank and that was fine, but doing it the other way around was very inebriated, very very out of it. Again, I had already put out there, and this isn't me excusing anything. This is just like a reminder because it's been a 90-minute stream so far. Like I had already said, like if I'm into it, I'm into it, and like inebriated or not. One time, unless you talk to every person you date about this thing about anyone's just cheating. You don't have a healthy poly relationship which allows without discussion dating other people without informing or discussing with the existing partner. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000%. Like there needs to be discussion there and there just was basically none. Um and I mean like there was some like I think there was like a conversation at that point about like I think that did transition into a conversation of like, okay, well, what does that mean? What does it mean that like you're okay with? Um, but like this was again like it wasn't like we had this conversation and then even hell 2 weeks the time it took to start dating me later. It was like 2 or 3 days at max. So this was a late conversation that like if this new girlfriend had been brought up in this conversation and been like actually I had someone in mind, that wouldn't be great, but it would be completely like it would just be a completely different level from what actually happened. Um, so yeah, one time we were both very inebriated. Um, while it's true that we were both very inebriated, Arya has significantly more experience than me with weed and alcohol. She has a significantly better tolerance than I do. Um, and I feel that's important to just lay out. Nonetheless, we were both very inebriated. Um, the embarrassing thing, I guess, like, I don't need to put this out there necessarily. Let me think. I'll just put it this way. She essentially tried to make me temporarily, but tried to make me forget my safe word, basically. Wanted to make me forget my safe word and to be confused about what's going on and not know what's going on. Um, that was like the goal that she was trying to get to. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I think I will be more explicit about this. Cause like fuck it, who cares? Like if I talk about things that I'm into on the internet, who gives a shit? This was like this was part of like some hypnosis stuff. And there was no safety net in place. There was no discussion of this beforehand. There was no backup for anything. And I think had I been literally any more inebriated than I was, I would have been shit out of luck. Yes. Yes. Mhm. Mhm. And like if like honestly no, like I think there's no scenario like I'm sure that I could try to think of some scenario here where like it would have made it fine if there was also previous discussion, but there was not. Not at all. Not of this, certainly. Absolutely. Well, because I was going to say is if that safety net isn't in place, you need to put another one in place. There needs to be a different safety net, and there was not. And the only reason that like, I was conscious enough to know that, like, that wasn't something I wanted. Um, but like inebriated enough that I was very fuzzy. But like woke me up basically, and I was very clearly very distressed and trying to express my safe. Here's the dangerous thing. Here's the dangerous thing about that, because of and let me be clear here. Let me be very 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 clear here. This is not a shaming of like whatever thing Arya may be into. I want to make that very clear. Like whatever may have been behind this is not a shaming of that. Um, and like if you have opinions about it, whatever, I'm not shaming that. That's not why like this was bad in my from my perspective. The thing that was bad about this is that there was no initial consent from me to do this. That is the problem, right? So, but the thing that is very dangerous about this is that, like, with no extra safety net being in place, like, my, like, my distress could have been taken as my genuine distress, like my full whole distress. And it was, and she did stop. But like I'm realizing, I'm really only realizing now. So this is like processing live on stream. Like I'm only realizing now that like what were the odds that that distress was not taken as like true genuine distress? Because like it's the scene that she was trying to set, right? Is there a world where I mean I'm glad that it went the way that it did. Rather than any worse, I guess. Fuck, wow, yeah. That mhm, yeah. Yeah, sorry, that possibility like I like I said I've talked about this with people already um before. I hadn't fully considered. I hadn't considered that kind of possibility that like that there is a world where like she didn't stop because like because that was the scene that was being set, so of course I reacted distressed. um like I tried to little avail to express my safe word, but I got enough of it across that it became clear. Fuck. So she stops. um I need to think about how I'm going to tell this next part of the story because I think I will tell this part. It's difficult because I mean it's difficult to even say why it's difficult to talk about. And this isn't from a perspective of like how comfortable it makes me, but this is from a perspective of like information about her that generally would not be mine to share. Um at the same time, I do think it is somewhat relevant to things. Um, there might be a few people in chat who know what I'm talking about because I've talked with them about it. Um, I don't know. None of you have to say anything about it, I guess. I don't know. I'm thinking about it because the thing is there are some people just to put it out there, like there are some people from this friend group who will watch this or like have already seen parts of it by now. And so like it's not anonymous to them. And so certain things, if I share it, that de-anonymizes that information about Arya to them. I'm just gonna decide. I'm gonna decide that it's not important because I feel that there's plenty that I'm getting across. So She did stop. And I was like, hey, I'm so fucking out of it. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I kind of still don't know what's going on. She starts crying too, and she goes, like, that's wild because, like, I'm feeling much the same way. Which, like, I don't know that I believe her. I'm pretty sure that she had a lot better control of what was going on than I did. Had a lot more knowledge what was going on than I did. And honestly, I think this was like thinking about it, it feels like this was an oh shit. She's going to remember this. I need to make sure that I say I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on either, honestly. After some conversation that I'm going to skip over, she kind of tries to give like some subtle hints to going back to sex, like within 10 minutes, maybe 15. I don't know, because I was super inebriated, so time was like all over the place. But it was not that long before she tried to subtly hint to going back to things. Like maybe, like, I don't know if maybe in her mind she thought that, like, I had forgotten how inebriated I was. Like, I don't even know. But I had already expressed how I was not in any kind of state to do so. I didn't initially process it first. I was like, hey, what did you say? And she's like, oh, I wouldn't worry about it. And as she was saying that, I fully processed it, and I was like, wow. So yeah, like, that already horrible thing, there was a step further than that. Like, shaky. Yeah. Um, some, we're gonna switch gears a lot from that. Um, I don't know if I did end up saying before, but we kind of do a bit of jumping around. Um, because this was a lot of very consistent stuff, but I felt it was probably best, like, the stuff that I can best remember and the kind of big events in this. Um, so back to stuff with regards to Cass, um, who at this point I was a lot more comfortable with, but I was talking a lot about this relationship with. He was very much not a fan, as he was right to not be a fan. Um, after during this whole time, every once in a while, I'm like, hey, don't forget, you really should go apologize to Cass, Arya. And even still does not. It takes me going to Cass and going, I don't know, maybe if you, and I feel like I'm giving myself too much credit here. I think I basically told Cass, like, you're gonna have to ask for an apology. Yes, Cass would very consistently express concerns about the relationship. And the thing about, like, being in a relationship like this, and especially in a situation where, like Cass, for very good reason, hates fuck. Arya. Hates Arya. 146.25. Pretty please. The thing about being in a situation like this, where Cass hates Arya for very good reason, and I'm going to Cass basically only talking about all this bad stuff, of which there was a lot, it's very easy for me to go, well, like, of course Cass only hears all the bad stuff. Of course that's the way that it goes. Because Cass would never want to hear about the good stuff, so I never talk about that stuff. Which also made things very, very difficult. And it also made it very difficult to hear, like, how bad Arya was. And I put more stock in that for sure. Um, you don't have to apologize for that. That is not on you. And I want to be clear that that's not on you. What I mean is just like it's 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 not your fault for not wanting to hear about her. It's her fault for being so bad that you wouldn't want to hear about her. But yes, Cass had to be the one to reach out when he was very much the hurt party, and this was very available knowledge to Arya. And Arya does, at this point, finally give one. It's not a very good apology, but it's given, I guess. Also, throughout my reminding to Arya that, like, this apology needs to happen, along the lines, or like while I'm doing that, I'm also saying, like, hey, Emily and Cass have been dating forever. They are going to move in together. They are going to live together someday. And I'm also in Emily's body. So if you are going to live with me someday, you and Cass need to be on good terms. I have expressed this so many times, and Arya still makes no effort to reach out to Cass past that one apology. At all. However, a little bit after this, Cass discovers that, like me, he is plural. We discover this through his headmate, Angel. Um, who, like, and I feel that this is really notable. Angel and I get into what starts as a largely sexual relationship, and I feel that there's something about this that's very, very notable. Because with Arya, like, I am constantly, constantly uncomfortable. Also, no, I did not push on M also getting feelings for Arya. I did not, or like Arya pushing on the idea of M having feelings for her. I did not touch on that, but that was very, very gross too. And then immediately moved on in on me. Like, yeah, no, it's the thing I said before of like I am the person in this body that she saw as sexually available. She didn't want me for me, in my mind. She wanted me for the body that I'm in. But I think it's notable, like, how uncomfortable I was with everything sexual with Arya because she made it that uncomfortable. And then the relationship that I had with Angel very quickly. And there's some other things surrounding that that, like, make that the case. I mean, for example, like, Cass and I are now dating. Um, and so, like, I think in some sense Angel got a bit of a head start in comfortability. um, but like it was night and day for sure. the level of respect towards my feelings. Um, and for clarity, when we had talked about polyamory, Arya was like, "Yeah, you can you can do whatever with whoever." Like that was like we did have a and also probably not a good way to do it, honestly. But like we did have a mutual thing of like, yeah, you want to like you want to fool around with people, sure, I don't care. I say probably not a good way to do it. It's probably actually not that bad. Um, like you're allowed to just yeah. I will get to that too. You can also express it yourself. But still, like I do go tell Arya like, hey, um, like last night, you know, um, because it's exciting. It's like a new person that I have a certain closeness with, and suddenly, the existence of Angel makes Arya very open to messaging Cass's account for about like a week and a half. So suddenly now, it's honestly it's the same thing with me. Now someone in Cass's body is someone that Arya views as sexually available. And so suddenly, like this is someone worth talking to. And but like just like eventually stopped uh just like started ignoring him for reasons unknown. Um let me drink some water. Mhm. Basically. Basically, yeah. Unless Cass has something more to say, I'm gonna do another kind of time skip, I guess. Yeah, that's that's definitely fair. I'm sorry about the shared memory there. That does not sound fun. Um, across the relationship still, there was something that was getting improvement, I guess. Um, which was I was getting more open with Arya about my worries and concerns and bad feelings. Especially towards like March, April of this year. And one of the things that I talked about, um, which is very relevant to why I'm even able to, well, save for the times that I messed up, that I slipped up, why I've been able to um like mostly anonymize her because she has not been a part of my Twitch channel like at all. She's never really a part of it. Cass has been here every single stream for a while. All of my other mods have been here every single stream for a while. Um, like, I mean, is it necessarily important what caused this? I guess it is because I'm gonna show stuff relating to it. Um, it's like that had been a discussion several times. Um, one day, yeah, yeah, Cass is there every time, every time. One day, Cass and I are in VC in the circus, my Discord server, with several members of the community at the time, for maybe like the second time ever. This is like 6 months in by now. Maybe the second time ever, Arya joins VC. Cass immediately leaves. Like, pang of anxiety, heads out. Completely understandable. This is not a person that he's comfortable around. And this, when I say this puts me in an awkward position, that's only partially true. Because really, like, at this point, obviously, I feel like the correct thing to do is to go after Cass and be like, hey, are you okay? Like, is there anything I can do to help? I clearly know what just happened. But in my mind at the time, it's like, I want to keep up with the conversation that Arya is now a part of, finally, for the second time ever. Because I'm really excited for her to be a part of things and try to be a part of things. And I'm worried that also leaving the moment that she gets there would, like, discourage her from ever doing it again. I am very desperate for something to be fixed in our relationship at this point. At the exact same time, I am trying to comfort Cass and, like, figure out what I can do to help them. Because, like, they got hit with a wave of anxiety and had to leave. After entirely too long, I do leave the call. I spend some time comforting Cass. Things calm down. And then, like, I'm hit with, like, the past, like, not just, like, the past hour, but I'm hit with the past, like, 6 months. Plus, like, the past, like, year of Arya. Like, Arya doesn't treat me right. Arya hasn't been treating Cass right. And she has me so desperate that I'm not even treating Cass right. I mean, even that I started this relationship isn't treating Cass right. That I even, like, honestly, that I even gave Arya the time of day at this point is not treating Cass right. So that all hits me at once. It is the biggest explosion of emotions any of us have had, I think, in years. Maybe, like, the night that we found out we were a plural, because I mean, like, that's what made it happen. That's what hit us over the head with it. But it was definitely the biggest explosion of emotion I had ever shown, because I am often very aloof and keep things very mellowed. I mean, I guess I get pretty, like, pissed off sometimes, but otherwise, like, I keep everything very mellowed comparatively to, say, Emily. And it, like, finally hits me in that moment that, like, this relationship has never been good. It's been thin ice at best for so long. It's like I sob and wail and sob and cry and bawl and cry and sob for a while. And, like, by the end of it, I'm kind of there. But, like, the both of us, Cass and I, clearly need sleep. So we decide to leave it and get some sleep because we could both really use it. Also, I think at this point, I think Cass and I were also dating. I don't know how important that is. But I figured I'd add that context. I think somewhere along the lines of this, Cass and I were also dating, and so, not that, like, relationships that aren't, like, closer than friendship are, like, less important and shouldn't be considered. But I think it definitely, I think it made it hit more how poorly I had been treating him, if that makes sense. Anyway, We go to bed. I am not the one who wakes up. Which is like, that happens. I think we were on queer platonic terms because we were like, I don't really know what we want to name our relationship. Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah. I guess dating might imply something other than that. We were queer platonic partners at that point. So yeah, I'm not the one who wakes up. Someone else wakes up, which is not like necessarily abnormal. That just happens sometimes when you're plural. Sometimes, even often, the person who goes to bed is not the person who wakes up. It is often luck of the draw. But this time around, any attempt to like reach me or communicate with me, uh, I like, it's just the whole body gets overwhelmed with anxiety. Like it, like I was doing real bad. I was doing really, really bad. The person who did wake up turned out to be a new person named Iridium, uh, otherwise known as Des, otherwise known as Erie for short. In this house, in this body, we love Erie so much. Erie is very wonderful. An absolute joy. So from here, um, instead of going off of memory, I'd like to go off of like I made archives of these conversations, and so I am going to bring up those to talk about how this went. And I need a minute to kind of get that set up because I didn't think ahead. So give me just a minute to do that. Yeah, we love Des. Um, I don't know if this is working the way that I want it to. It doesn't seem to want to work the way I want it to. Oh, and it's really causing trouble for my computer. Sorry, I wish I had gotten this set up before. Uh-oh, computer noises. If I can't get this figured out in the next, like, 5 seconds, I know what I can do. Here, I'll just capture the display. I can probably live with that. Um, Let me just put it here. By there, I mean here. I'm just gonna put it over me, because that's easier. So basically, Erie had come in, messaged Arya a little bit, saying, "Hi, I'm new," and was like, "Hey, I can pass along what happened last night if you'd like. I'm not sure when Nyx is going to front again. It will happen at some point, but when is anyone's guess? Because that's the point we were at. We didn't know. We've never had something like this happen before, really. The closest thing was me being host instead of Emily, in about November or December. But even then, it's not like Emily was like unreachable. It was just like she wasn't host anymore, and that was it. Let me scoot this down to make it a little less awkward looking. Sorry, I want it to be clean. Arya says, yeah, yes, please. I'd really like that. Yuri says, okay, let me see if I can get it down right. Ahead of time is going to get a bit wordy, but I should be around for a bit to follow up and talk about it for the most part. So basically everything that I told you, like big emotional thing, big emotional explosion. Happy to see her join VC. I mean, like this is basically what I just told you, so I'm just gonna move past it. It's here long enough that later you can reread it if you really care, I guess. Let me double check. I'm also kind of not, I'm losing solid grasp of front. I just want to make that clear. So, like, my memory's getting a little funked right now. But yeah, said all this, confirmed that I'm safe, like I've been spoken to a little bit. I confirmed that I was like fine and I wanted her to communicate this. Um Erie says, I don't know when she'll be able to front again, so I felt it was important to tell you what led to it and best understanding what's going on. And, you know, like, I feel like the reaction to this from any, like, from someone who cared would be, oh my god, I hope she's okay. Thank you for updating me. I'm glad I know what's going on now. Arya says, I don't even know what to do. I'm so tired. Like she's exasperated with me for having such a big explosion of emotion that I can't front anymore. Like, yeah, I just, like, crazy. Here he says, I'm not sure how to respond. There's not much to do. It just kind of is. Most of what I could offer is anything else that Nyx, like, didn't have the confidence to communicate. But I assume this is already pretty overwhelming. I think I was still influencing. I don't know if it was I was influencing Erie to kind of be hands off, or if it's just like that's just the way Erie is, and like Erie was just like, I don't want to pile on information on you because like I'm an outsider to the situation. Um, Arya says, I just want to talk to her. Every conversation feels like there's things being held back. Um, so yeah, that's the end of that conversation for some reason. The next morning, Arya says, hey, Erie, can I leave a message here for Nyx? You can read it or not. It's going to be spoiler tagged. Erie says, absolutely. You can absolutely do that. Um, that message, never sent. There was never a message like that. It just did not happen. Uh, like, whatever, just little interaction after that. 2 days later, almost 48 hours later, says, good morning. Like 16 minutes pass, sends a meme about like good omens for some reason. Like, and this is what is the crazy thing is it's not even like it was like silence, like it was just this whole time was like writing this message that Arya really wishes she could write. Yes, that is what that is. Right? Right? But no, sends more messages, sends a meme before she sends whatever message was supposed to be for me. Um, Now that coffee emoji, for clarity, is not like we set down our coffee and said good afternoon. That is an indication of latte fronting, or really more was a combination of me and latte that usually goes by espresso. I believe that's how she introduced herself. But it was latte leading. Um, She says, our name is Espresso. I'm a blend of latte, an emotional suppressor you've yet to meet, and Nyx. I will be doing a lot of talking, but as with the reading before me, I'd like to largely express things from Nyx's perspective. Done more easily with toned down emotions, not so easily with Nyx softening my words. That hurt a little bit, but it's understandable. Um, I get. I'm sure that truly Latte understands how hard it was for me, and I also understand how difficult it is with me kind of getting in the way of communication a bit. Okay, sorry. Another thing that really doesn't matter, but I'm just gonna like move that so that it's over. I'm sorry. Not important at all. It just was bugging me visually. Um, I say this all because he didn't seem willing to talk about this much with Erie on his own, pre-written again for reasons expressed later. Myself, Iridium, and some others have some issues with your response to this situation so far. Your initial response was exasperation, and so far there hasn't been much of a response otherwise. Not a word of worries escaped your lips, despite the situation. We wanted to give you time for the message you said you would leave, but that never happened, so here we are. While Nyx feels compelled to give the benefit of the doubt, and that's true, I did, and say it was just a knee-jerk reaction and we shouldn't be upset, the rest of us aren't so sure. When you, and this is referencing another time, when you came to Nyx, inebriated and upset, listing a series of problems bothering you all at once, and these were issues that Arya did have with with me. I was going to say with Nyx. Um, she did nothing of the sort to you. In fact, I feel she was very mature about it, telling you explicitly that she wanted to help, but would need time to be able to communicate properly. And as soon as you had both had taken some time, she went straight into comfort and communication, all over a problem that you caused. I, especially with memory fucking right now, like I don't remember what exactly this is referring to. My guess is that it was one of many conversations um about like not really apologizing properly to Cass or making things right in any way. On the other hand, your response to Erie and Nyx's experience seemed to be exhaustion, maybe even anger, as if you were owed her communicating with you sooner. Where the first thing out of Nyx's mouth was reassurance, the first thing out of yours was exasperation. The thing that I'm not sure you realize is that you have made communication difficult. You can say communication should happen all you want, but when your actions speak against that, it discourages communication. Your past hesitance for apologies to her friend and now partner, your dismissal of her advice on engaging with said partner, your oblivious to her relationship and future with said partner, your on and off ignoring of her asexuality, it all contributes to a poor environment for communication. Not to mention, again, the total outward lack of worry for her well being. And I feel that only so much of this is reasonable for you to not notice on your own. So, in short, we feel the response of exasperation, and just expecting communication from words that have hardly turned to action is uncalled for. And that this was the only response given and no concern was expressed is also incredibly worrying. Ah. And all of this could only come out this way, done by myself or Iridium, because even still, Nyx wants to forgive and forget and forget and forgive, so as to not waste words that will be considered by convenience at best. Which is part of why this is all written ahead of time. I understand that you want to talk to Nyx, but ultimately this is the way a conversation can happen right now. Iridium and myself are made for the express purpose of helping Nyx through exactly this. Arya says, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Everything's been going wrong all at once, and I don't know how to handle it. I promise I'm not exasperated you or Nyx or Eerie or anybody. Latte says, we can understand going through a lot, and we feel for that. We don't necessarily expect like 100% in on this, and this is definitely me influencing to be softer. Or being able to acknowledge all of everything or anything. But it's just like, even with all of that, it feels like no concern was expressed at all, and this was a pretty big deal, I feel. Like, yeah, everything else is huge and big and a problem, but that's the thing that really stuck. Like, this was the focus, referencing her saying every conversation feels like there's things being held back. We don't tell you everything we should. Not well wishes or worry or what have you, just that this happening is a lot and we need to tell you more of our true feelings. Sorry, I'm really, really sorry. I hurt you guys so much and I should have known how much. I should have shown how much I've been worried. I really didn't know what to say or how to say it. I spent all day after asking her if I could write a note to Nyx, just thinking about what to write. I'm so sorry. I I should have shown how much I've been worried. I really didn't know what to say or how to say it. I don't know. I don't know. Um, like, okay. Like, it seems just kind of like a thing that she thinks that she should say, you know? Latte says, I feel like I'm harping on and sticking to it so hard. Actually, no, Espresso said this. But I just literally can't imagine that being my first reaction to anything. I don't know. Maybe being this messy up blended is a good space for processing things. Wrong. We were fully right. I spent a day thinking about what to write, and then she didn't write it. No attempt to follow up sooner. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And like what? Yeah, like what happened after? At what point did you go? Well, I can't think of anything, and then send Erie a meme? You're definitely not being weird. Whatever you're about to say, you're definitely not being weird. I didn't realize there was a name I didn't censor here, but like this is such like an everybody name that I don't think it really matters. Absolutely. Saying, hey, can I leave a note for Nyx implies that there's a note ready. Or close to it. Yeah. Like that implies that you're going to do it. Why did you even ask? It's so weird. I might be getting a little bit of eerie blending right now, by the way. Just a heads up. Maybe a little bit of latte too. I think both of them might be around because strong emotions going through this. Arya says, to be honest, you're right. I'm really ashamed about me lashing out like that. I think I'm overstressed right now, but there's some really bad stuff going on with Thea recently. That's not really much of an excuse. I need to be better. I mean, I'm not even gonna clarify. Actually, I'll just move on. Uh, hmm. uh, hmm. I think I'm gonna do something real quick. Hold on. For clarity, I'm not hiding this because there's anything that I don't want seen. It's because I don't want to. Let me look at. Can we get like a 220 written down? I didn't think ahead on this, and I wish I had. Wait, where'd I go? Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. That makes sense. Basically, um, no, I can show it back. Um, oh, sorry, I should have read what you were saying. The fact that she had to think about something to write for a whole day with nothing to show for it feels cruel or uncaring. How does she have no words to express to Nyx? Mm-hmm. 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 How can she claim to love and care and worry for me, but has to think a whole day to express those things in a note and then never write one or give updates? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And when we do get a message, it's a good morning and a meme. right? Um, Arya says, "Hey, I really didn't mean to hurt Nyx or Cass or anyone, but I understand if you blame me for it." And here's the thing about this sentence. No, you're good. You're good. That's no worries. You're fine. Um, like here's the thing about the sentence. When you say, "Hey, I really didn't mean to hurt Nyx or Cass or anyone, but I understand if you blame me for it." When you say, "If I understand if you blame me for it," especially in a situation like this, you say it in the hopes that we go, "No, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no, it's not your fault. No, I don't blame you. Sometimes hurt just happens." But like, no. So Latte says, "I see. I've fallen out what you meant. I just like don't know what to do with it." Fishing for forgiveness. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Arya says, "Yeah, well, because it's still pretty shitty. Even if I'm trying to apologize, it like still happened." Espresso says, "Not even that." And then says, a lot. "You're right that not meaning to do anything doesn't really help anything, but it's more than just hurting. It's needing to pull teeth to get any sort of apology for the hurt you've caused Cass. It's seeing patterns slowly start to repeat again, pushing against Nyx's hesitancy with intimacy, and getting home and seeming to already expect things to move to the bed. It's a lack of consideration. Taking a number of times of mentioning the future of Emily and I living with Cass for it to really. And I think at this point I'm starting to talk as well. Ellie and I living with Cass for it to really click that living with me means living with him too. Seeming to brush off other system members, I'm assuming it was a coincidence you messaged us right as Nyx Plus was added to our status. This is a thing that we didn't go over. Very bad at interacting with other system members that weren't me. Um, which showed in the way that Iridium was interacted with. This was a pattern that we didn't mention. But yeah. So much more than all of this. Like, it's alright if right this second you don't have the space to acknowledge everything or specifics, but until then, there's not a lot that you can give me. I did not bring that up. There was a lot of Arya going, like, "I want to marry you. We should get married. You should run away with me. Will you move to California?" And I would go, "No, I have someone else. Not only do I have someone else, even if I didn't, I share a body with someone who has someone else. It would be inconsiderate of me to say, to actually go along with it at all. And I'm not going to. I'm going to be honest with you. I have someone else." And then 2 days later, Arya would go, "Let's run away together. Would you run away with me?" Like, no. I've already expressed it, and it was expressed so many times. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Also, like, you and Emily, that's what I meant to say when I said there are other people in my system with people here. I meant to say, like, I'm not even the only person dating you. Like, you and Emily are gonna live together, and that's been expressed. And a lot of this was after this big conversation where, like, I was like for the billionth time, like, "Hey, I'm going to be living with Cass. Emily and Cass are going to get married and they're going to move in together. This is a thing that they already know that they're going to do because they've been in a relationship forever. And so, like, you need to get on good terms with Cass." And Arya goes, "Wow, it never really hit me till now that, like, wow, yeah, like, that I'd have to, yeah, no, we'd have to live together, huh? I really should work on that." This is billionth time it's been brought up, and even after that, Move away to Europe with me. Run away with me. Like, yeah, yeah. Which feels very like really push. Like, I care about you. I'm so in love with you that I'd want to run away with you. I'm so disappointed. Like, I'm so disappointed that you don't want the same with me. Mm-hmm. 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 Very true also. Very true also. It's like Espresso said. A lot of this shouldn't have been stuff that had to be said. On top of everything, I have my own issues that make expressing things to people close to me difficult. And that's something for me to work on. But should have taken this to notice when I'm hesitant to be rough out of the blue? Should have taken this to realize an extremely late apology with terribly little follow up isn't enough to be on good terms after what was done? I don't know. I can appreciate that you want to apologize. I can understand that you also have other shit going on, but I find it hard to engage with anything before you're ready to engage with anything. And by the way, I want to give so many thanks to Cass because this would not have like this conversation wouldn't have happened the way it did if I didn't have Cass over my shoulder helping me express all of this. Because this is all stuff that I wanted to express but was scared to. And having that support really meant a lot. And so I just thank you so much, Cass. I want to say that very out loud. It really means a lot. It sucks because even thinking back on all of this, having time to really start processing stuff, having time to get outside perspectives and some inside perspectives, haha, funny plural joke. It's just like, what does being better look like? What does being better accomplish? Is being better going to be enough to fix the hurt to Cass and I? Is it worth promising a partner who, to be candid, has put a lot more of their consistent energy into me? Or sorry, a partner who, to be candid, has put a lot more of their consistent energy into me, that eventually you'll take the advice I passed on to you 100 more times, potentially maybe make things better? Should they even have to want that? Should they even have to do that for us? And just in case there's some stuff that I wouldn't want to spill about Arya, I'm going to cover this. Uh, this is more messages, but I'm just going to read it out loud. I'm sorry that I'm not giving a visual aid. And again, trying to be more and more candid, I want so bad to always be giving benefit of the doubt, because we always do. And I always think about sweet moments and good memories. But am I honest if I think this is working overall? Am I honest if I think we were ready to start a relationship within days of me being conscious? Days before you broke up with your current partner? Am I honest if I think it's worth a relationship starting dubiously soon after you bring up polyamory? Am I honest if it's worth taking your word for being better again until I just stop bringing up the problem 90% of the time? And again, this is all coming out now because it just hasn't been easy to communicate through so many things until something major has happened. And then I'm going to skip a bit of conversation because it unfortunately reveals information that I don't want to reveal about Arya. Also, yes, lots of appreciation for Erie and espresso slash latte. Yeah, no. Like if I did share this, it would piss you off. Yeah, like it's not good, but it's not something that I really think I should share. Um, if it weren't for the fact that mutual friends have the potential to see this, I wouldn't worry about it because it's anonymized. But because they do have the potential to see it, I would rather. No, I'm shaking my fist. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Pi says, it's me again. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I need to go. I love you. This is kind of like later into the night after some time has passed. Comes back the next morning. Hi. A little time passes. Good morning. A little more time passes. How are you doing? And I say, hey, small talk isn't going to happen. Like, I'm not going to be a good conversation outside of talking about this. 5 hours pass. The I love you is crazy after there being no conversation from her. Yeah, no. And that's the thing is I wasn't gonna give an I love you back because that's like, oh no, see? There's still a happy ending. No. No, 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 no. Yeah, doing the heavy, heavy lifting. So, Arya. Wait, huh? Hmm? Oh, okay, sorry. Arya says, hey Nix, I hope you're doing alright. I really do care about your well-being and I hope you know that. Sorry if I haven't been good at expressing that. Dot dot. Sorry. Sorry, I'm being mean. I'm being petty. I'm kind of fine with that. One moment. Oh, shit. That's embarrassing. Whew. That was close. Whew. Whew. I forgot I was capturing the whole desktop. Uh. Whew. Okay. Oh, man. Have I mentioned that I'm, like, exhausted and haven't gotten any sleep? Did I mention that part? Okay. Well, hold on a second. Luckily, I opened on the circus, right? Okay. That was very, very funny. Anyway. Jesus Christ. Huh. Alright. Arya, I know you care, but several of these are instances of you not expressing it. They feel like instances where you actively didn't care. If there's something else to that, I want to hear it, but these blanket statements just aren't helping. Like, I want to talk through these things in specific, not get reassured that despite it all, you do care. I know that. We're going to skip past that parentheses and pretend that it isn't there. And if I could get 234-ish written down, that would be perfect. Um, Arya says, that's why I'm here. I do want to talk things through in specific. I want to do everything I can to make things right. I just am also really sorry. I was incredibly scared when I displayed that I didn't care, and I think I'm just overcompensating right now. I can reel it in though, and we can just focus on what to do now. So I'm like, okay, let's start somewhere. Also, like, I don't know what the end result of this looks like. I understand that I'm dropping a lot at once, but it's a lot of little things that built up, wound up in a lot of emotion, and after all that, didn't get any worry from me until after another headmate came and stood up for me. I do want to talk things through in specific. Okay, but why didn't you acknowledge the specific concerns expressed earlier? Yeah, why was everything, like, every bit that I had gotten from Arya up till this point was pulling teeth to get it. And still I have nothing in my hands. Also, really want to point out this line at the bottom. Please don't think that I want to villainize you or delegitimize your feelings. How you feel is important. Take the sentence, put it in your brain, keep it there as we move on. I feel you should be the one getting us started. I've done a lot of talking on my end of things so far. And this is going to look very familiar. And this is why I basically quoted another apology. All right. I want to start with our boundaries. You said before that I pushed your boundaries in the past and that it upset you to the point where you didn't feel safe communicating with me how you feel. Again, I'm really, really sorry that I've done that. You know me. You know how seriously I take boundaries. It's unacceptable to be doing that to anyone, especially someone that I love. Okay. I don't point it out here. But that is literally that is basically the same apology I got the first time. Yeah, you know me? Okay. You know how seriously I take boundaries? I don't, because I got this apology before and then they kept not being taken seriously. Like she wants to manipulate me into going, "Oh, like what was I thinking? Of course you wouldn't do that. Oh, you didn't mean it." Yeah, you haven't shown it. And that's what I say. I think we're getting some anger now, by the way. Not fully fronting, but I'm getting the influences. You can't just tell, you have to show. Yes. You say you take boundaries seriously, but when you push them and you push them repeatedly, that is just not taking them seriously. Like, they weren't taken seriously. And to a certain extent, it feels like whether or not they were taken seriously depended on how bad you wanted XYZ thing at the time. The times that hesitation and such were checked in on were far outnumbered by the times that they weren't, and outnumbered by the times that there were nudges on that hesitation. Like, I don't know that you take boundaries seriously. I've largely just heard it. And I know that you're speaking of specifically intimate boundaries now, but when you cross Cass's boundaries, it took pleading and prodding to get apologies. And that doesn't feel like someone who takes boundaries seriously either. I feel like it may feel like I'm focusing on minute parts of what you're saying and ignoring the acknowledgments of wrongdoing, but I feel it's important to point out that there's an accompaniment here that gently shifts focus. I guess I did point it out. A lot of this is about and because of words that don't reflect in actions. This specifically is something we've already talked about, I think, a few times. But yeah, it's like, even if it's like, I'm really sorry, it's like, but like, you know me. You know how seriously I take that? And like, listen, I hear you. Here's what you said. I hear you. But you know me. I take boundaries very seriously. And it's unacceptable to do that. It's like, it's this apology is corporate, is what it is. It's shiny, it's squeaky clean, and it's very corporate. It was, and by the way, like, after all of this, I sent a very, very long message to, I think like a month ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago. I sent it to like, what was the fucking word? Whatever. I sent it to Arya, uh, and I forgot what I was even saying this for. Oh, I was like, I said it's an apology that didn't feel felt, but rather felt made, felt crafted. Um, so remember, like, I don't want to delegitimize your feelings and like, or villainize you. I point out, hey, this apology sucks. And so Arya tries a different route. Oh, like, this is crazy. I understand why anger is coming out right now. I think it's worth pointing out that every time we've had a discussion about boundaries, it's predicated on the fact that we're very different people when it comes to love languages. Already vomiting. It's the reason why we have things like safe words. So that you can have something to say, hey, this isn't working out for me. I'm not comfortable with this. That's crazy. That is a crazy thing to say when you, without communication, tried to get me to forget it. Temporarily, sure, but like, you took it away without prior communication. And that will immediately put a hard stop to whatever is going on. This isn't to say that it's always on you to recognize and diffuse situations as they arise, but safety nets are there for a reason. Notice how this part, basically none of it is like, yeah, no, I should consider that more. It's all, okay, but like, couldn't you have done something more to stop things? Yeah, she's basically saying, your feelings are illegitimate and you're the villain here. I mean, that's what she's saying, right? I tried a lot. I did. I made it very clear. This isn't to say that it's always on you to recognize and diffuse situations as they arise, but it was, though. There were basically no times where you were the one looking out, Arya. It was always me. every time. Like, again, there was that period of time where you would go, "Are you sure? Are you sure you're good?" That stopped very quickly. Like, right now? I was gonna say right now you're not saying that it's always on me, but, like, you are. Because you don't go back and say, "Still, I should probably blah, 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 blah." It was, yeah, I mean, but, like, you could have done more to recognize in a few situations. Not that I'm saying that you have to be the one to do it, but I mean, there's a reason that stuff is there, so I mean, it's very like, hey, I'm not saying you have to be the one to do it. I'm just saying that you have all the tools that you would need to do it were it the case that you were the one who needed to do it, which I'm not saying is the case, but I mean, like, ugh, ugh. As for Cass, I regret not going to them and apologizing right away, but you have to understand this is someone that I'm still very unfamiliar with. And this is crazy, and frankly, kind of uncomfortable around. Arya being uncomfortable with me was news to me. Mind you, the three of us did hang out a couple times, and she seemed totally fine and comfortable around me. Always a pleasure as always, Cass. Yes, yeah, that is direct quote. Every time. Like, we had hung out, and we had generally had a good time. It's like, it's your fault that you're unfamiliar with him. You could have changed that. And there is no reason to be uncomfortable around Cass. Hello. Someone switched. Yeah, you were uncomfortable around her, rightfully so. She has no reason to feel it the other way. I want to be courteous to them for your sake, but they're still basically an acquaintance to me. A big part of what makes it difficult for me to break into is that after months of radio silence, I learned that something I did that I already acknowledged and apologized for was still a large issue in putting a strain on your interactions with them. This refers to a conversation that we had before this point. It's a really delicate situation that I'm very much not comfortable with, and I mishandled it severely. For that, I am sorry. I feel like a lot of what I said comes across as trying to shift the blame to you. Sorry if it reads that way. I truly don't mean to do that. Yeah, but I'm glad I brought you up. Yeah. Definitely. It's crazy the so can we break down this cast paragraph sentence by sentence real quick? Um anger like I'm hi, anger. Should probably clarify by the way. Since we were last streaming, there Nyx me has split in three. There are three of us now. Muted Nyx started the stream. I am Anger Nyx, and there's also Nyx Prime. We wanted to come up with better names. We haven't. All of these names have stuck. Hi, Cass. I'm pretty blendy, but I'm definitely the main person here. Um, I'm a lot more laughing, a lot more like, let's really break this down than Muted was. So if that's like jarring, I'm technically different. Yes, hello, Kayla. So like sentence by sentence. As for Cass, I regret going to them I regret not going to them and apologizing right away. But you have to understand that this is someone that I'm still very unfamiliar with, and frankly, kind of uncomfortable around. So, first sentence is almost an apology, but it's like, but you have to understand that there was no way that I would ever be able to do that. I mean, I don't know him. I'm really uncomfortable around him. It's just like, why though? Like, this is just excuses that make no sense. It's your fault you don't know them. And there is nothing that he has done to make you uncomfortable. The only thing he has done has been upset that you flirted with his girlfriend multiple years. Yeah, exactly. What does that have to do with apologizing? Like, and your boyfriend, yes, also and your boyfriend, because we didn't talk about it here, because it's just, there's so much shit that it didn't fit. But, oh, you're not Kayla? I'm sorry, who are we speaking to? But, yeah, like, Robin, who is also monogamous with Cass, like, also flirted with him in front of Cass. Like, but you're uncomfortable because he's upset with you for that. That makes you uncomfortable. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. Hello, Tammy. I don't believe we've ever met. Well, welcome. I'm sorry that this is your first stream. This is a bit, heavy for a first stream, but we are happy to have you here. Um, this is about, someone who very deeply hurt me, and that's what we're talking about right now. So, I want to be courteous to them for your sake, but they're still basically an acquaintance to me. Basically the same sentence, like, listen, I want to like make things happen, but like I don't know them. A big part of what makes it difficult for me to break into is after months of radio silence, I learned something that I did that I already acknowledged and apologized for was still a large issue in putting a strain on interactions with them. So let's break this. Big part of what makes it difficult for to break into is after months of radio silence. We're gonna say it in our response here. That radio silence is Arya's fault. It is directly Arya's fault. Because every time Cass had the last message, Cass had sent the last message 4 months, and then Angel next had also sent the last message. And also, I pretty constantly would be like, hey, we should really hang out with Cass and do this sometime. And she'd go, yeah, yeah, maybe we could do that sometime, maybe, I guess. It is, you are the only one who made this a difficult process, Arya. I learned that something I did that I already acknowledged and apologized for. So we're ignoring that this was not acknowledged nor apologized for months. Months. Until it became the next year. This was not apologized for. And even when it was, that apology was shitty. It was really bad. And then after all of this, like, excuses, that's a really delicate situation I'm very much not comfortable with, and I mishandled it severely. For that, I'm sorry. Like, you don't get it both ways. You don't. And, like, this I think is how a lot of these conversations went, but now, this time it was over text. So, like, we can show it. Like, a lot of conversations would be like, well, you have to understand. Like, and, well, you know who I am. I take this very seriously. But I'm really sorry. But I would never do that. But that's not the kind of person I am. But you know I take this seriously. But you have to understand I already did this. But I'm uncomfortable around them. I'm very unfamiliar with them. I don't think that they'd want to hear me. This person looks mean and, like, trying to change stuff. Yeah. And then I feel like a lot of what I said comes across as trying to shift the blame to you. Sorry if it reads that way. I truly don't mean to do that. Okay. Like, yes, you do. Like, what's even the point? What is even the point of doing that? Because it's exactly what you're doing. And I find it hard to believe that you could not believe that this is what you're doing. Moving on, though. Okay, like, yes, safe words are there for a reason, but there are a million things that have disincentivized me from using them sooner rather than later. Like, are the words I'm saying the ones on the screen? Yes. Like, the first time we met in person, when I was hesitant about doing, if I recall, anything sexual, At the very least, most things, you would continuously push that it's better to at least try. A lot. Even just that alone is going to affect how I feel about cutting things off. And this goes for outside of the big stuff like that too. When you push for me to do something rough out of the blue, just hanging out in bed, and I'm not into or hesitant to the idea, and you whine about me not doing it, that puts a pressure on me to perform. And that pressure is going to last for more than just that one time. Putting safe words in place are an important part of intimacy, but they're not the only thing. And they don't make for standalone prevention of coercion. All this is also compounded by me being asexual. Just inherently, I'm going to feel pressured to perform. And so all of these little things that, to be clear, would still be bad regardless, are made even more effective at making me pressure myself to be alright with things. And really, truly, I don't have the window big enough to see what words are right here. And really, truly, I do not understand what being only acquainted with him has to do with anything. You hurt someone deeply, and not only that, that someone is a longtime date mate of one of your best friends. Not that that should be a requirement for apologizing for big things like breaking his boundaries surrounding their relationships. It should just be a given that when you break someone's boundaries like this, you make some effort to, at the very least, apologize. It also isn't fair for you to be uncomfortable with them when you are the one who broke boundaries. Also, straight up, you can't just be courteous and be a part of what we've got going on. Like, there's a lot more that goes into making things right than an apology. Later, not. And without that happening, there's going to be inherent discomfort towards you. Already acknowledge and apologize for is not a hell of a lot. Not to mention, as has been said too many times, I am going to be living with them someday. Courteous is not something that could be enough. Side note, around this time, didn't she put fuck in her status? I fucking forgot about that. Yes. Yes. Once this was sent, and I think it was probably because of this word here, coercion, because that was finally like put into writing. That is my game theory right now, is that she saw that and went, oh, oh. Also, those months of radio silence are from you? My understanding is that there were multiple times that Cass and Angel texted you and never got a response from you. They have just about no reason to make the effort towards you when it took so much to get the small amount of effort you gave. Of course, they're going to take you not texting back as an indication you're not interested. Especially when, as I had apparently forgotten, getting an apology only happened once Cass reached out to you to get it. And just to reiterate on courteousness, it is effort and work for Cass to make effort to be courteous with you, despite what you have done and what little had been done about it. I do not have any reason to believe that it is effort or work for you to be courteous with Cass, who, from what I understand, has done nothing to make you uncomfortable with them. So it comes off like an unwillingness to put in effort to change just being an acquaintance, or at the very least, truly make things right. Almost 12 hours pass. Arya says, hey, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection, and you're entirely right. I don't have any reason to feel that way. When I'm off work, I'm going to be writing an extraordinarily late apology to Cass. Once that's done, I don't understand if you want to distance yourself from me. If there's anything more you'd like to discuss, I'd be happy to. I'm sorry. Um, maybe. I don't know. Um, I think she was fearful of facing the consequences of her actions and somehow twisted it in her mind. Oh yeah, an apology did come. It wasn't very good, I would bet. Um, I bet she twisted it in her mind in some way that, like, she was somehow right to be uncomfortable with you because of how upset you rightfully were. Yeah, because the thing is, Cass got an apology, and I didn't really. I mean, I'm sorry. But it's like, this response, by the way, last message is sent. The next morning, I got a, I hope you're okay, and that is the last message I ever got from Arya. And this says today, this is from, early May. Um, it is now August. It is now late August. Um, Like, no acknowledgement of the coercion stuff, of the safe word stuff, of the way that she just treated that whole conversation. Only like, hey, you're right. I don't have any reason to feel that way about Cass. I'll go write an apology to them. And once that's done, I'd understand if you want to distance yourself from me. AKA, we're done. Right? Like we can all agree that's what this means. Right? Like, yeah, if there's anything more you'd like to discuss, I'd be happy to. But again, like this is another thing that we told her in our message that we sent like 2 weeks ago. Like, that is you breaking it off. You already made it clear that you are not willing to discuss anything that you are not willing to admit to about yourself. And you saying, I'd understand if you want to distance yourself from me, very much is like you're gonna do that. Like, I know you're gonna do that, so I'll say it first. Like, that's pretty much what it, like, I can see where this is going. Let's stop it. And honestly, a part of me feels like this is similarly corporate as the first apology, where it's like she can't say, I see, you're accusing me of coercion. I can't have that. You're ridiculous and you're crazy. Go away. She can't say that. So instead, it's, I understand if you want to distance yourself from me. I get it. I understand. Oh, man. Yeah. Very frustrating. And that's it. That's where it ends. Um, yeah, so I don't really know what to say at the end of all this. Um, doesn't help that I wasn't supposed to be the one here for the stream. I don't know if Muted had anything in mind either. Um, it's yes. So 2 weeks ago, we sent a very long message that I've referenced, I think 2 or 3 times, in the last like hour of this stream. Uh, that was basically just a long like, hey, fuck you, like, uh, basically like I got everything out that I just told you to her, and then blocked her. And this is kind of like final step in catharsis. Just, it's out there now. And like, if we ever feel like it's necessary, um like, things don't have to, like, our story is out there, and I don't think anybody else's is. And so I'm happy that now we do have our story out there, for whatever that might mean. Whether that's just, now we've said it, now it's off our chest, now we have this last bit of catharsis, or that's like, hey, everybody, we've had experience with this person who we have reason to believe has a history of treating people like this. I would just be careful. Whatever that turns out to be. Um, I do hope that we definitely had some slip ups, because we're exhausted. We're going to immediately download this, and then the moment it's done downloading, we're going to delete this off of this channel. But very, very soon, like within the week, it will be uploaded to the VODs channel, just with information that I didn't necessarily want to share, um, edited out. So that is her real name, that thing that I kept referencing, that I was like, I shouldn't talk about. Um, that those like very basically very minor edits uh will be made and then it will be uploaded. Um so that's there. Um I do hope other than that that we've handled this well. Um like I know that I came in and suddenly I wanted to pick stuff apart, but um no, yeah, like I just hope that this was I hope that this was a right way to go about it. Um I don't know if there's anything else really to say, I guess. I hope that no one else was hurt the way I was, at least since I was. I hope that anybody who was in any kind of similarly bad relationship with her, um, either got out of it or improved things. I hope anybody that interacts with her has better experiences, and I really do hope that she becomes better. Um, because I mean, like I don't know that I need it because I just do hope that. Um, I really appreciate folks for listening to us. Muted does too. We all appreciate it. Um, I know this wasn't really like a fun stream, which I know is fine. Like not everything needs to be fun and joy and stuff, but um I think after all that we did want to say like because like the stream is like why we took a break. Like yeah, that was affecting us all a lot. Um there was another like week where Muted just like couldn't really front, at least not on her own, and even then like wasn't doing it a lot. She wasn't like feeling horrible, but like she couldn't front, and I think it was largely because of how this was still affecting us. So I think this will be a huge weight off of us. We would really like, I'm not 100% on it yet, but we'd really like to get back to regular normal streaming starting next week. Um Now that we're kind of like on the way out of everything. Like this is kind of the final big thing, and I think we are reaching a point of being recovered. Yes, and there is a fun surprise for it. That's true. There is something very fun in store for when that happens. Um, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else to say. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Hydrate. I have been keeping hydrated, but I will. Hmm. Cass, you're such a sweetheart. You're such a fucking sweetheart. Thank you so much. Stop back shrimping. Fine. Okay. Good stretch would do me well right now. Um, yeah. So thank you, everyone. Uh, okay. Because if there is something that needs to be said or anything, yeah, I get you. That's a funny series of 3 messages, though. Wait, never mind the wait. Anyway, um, yeah. Uh, oh, okay. Um, I'm trying to think of like I feel like I'm not ready to like let go, but I feel like it'll be nice to like have this stream be over. Oh, I love you too, sweetheart. I feel like it'll be nice to have this stream be over. Have that all out there. Um, one last thing. Um, please, 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 please. This should have been said at the start. Please don't try to go searching for who I am talking about. That's not what I want. That doesn't need to be a thing at all. I was anonymous on purpose. Like, please don't fucking do that. Yes, that's fine. I appreciate that. Like, I am like 1,000% not doing this because I want someone to like be harassed. Yeah, no, like I like I want to say it anyway. Like, you're not gonna find much if you do look, I think. Um, but like, don't try, please. Don't like, don't take that as a challenge. There is no reason to look into it. Um, if because here's the thing. This is my story, right? This is what I have to tell, what I have to say. And if I wanted her name and her usernames and whatever to be known, then I would have made them known on purpose. So, um, yeah, please just leave it, and don't do anything stupid. Um, yeah, I think that's probably it. I don't think there's anything else that I need to say, want to say, should say. Um, yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate folks just being here. Cass, I really appreciate you helping me and adding things when they needed to be added. Um, I really appreciate everyone else who also chimed in on it and just was very supportive and like I admittedly I was very worried that I was going to do this and I think I'm blending with Muted a little more now. But we were worried that we were gonna do this and the reaction was going to be like, what is wrong with you? Why would you do all these things? And like, why didn't you do this? And like, why are you airing this out? And stuff like that. Because, I mean, like, that's the kind of thing that we see when people like come out with stories. And so I guess that we're lucky that we're very small right now. And so we don't have to deal with that as much, at least for this initial stream. Um, so that also really means a lot. Um, so yeah, thank you very, very much. Okay. Thank you. I think for real, that's enough now, because I've done enough almost crying on stream today. Um, I don't think I want anything to be like linked here other than the YouTube because I mentioned it. There's something that feels weird about like, well, hey, come, blah 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 blah. But like I guess there are links to places if you want to be there. I'll put up a schedule sometime soon, for getting back to normal streams, and they will be a lot more fun. Um, and if you want to support me, you can buy a Prime sub right now. Did you know that if you have Twitch Prime, no, 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 no. It's a good funny though. Okay. Um, I don't know why I'm still here. Okay. Thank you so much. Uh, have a good rest of your days/nights/etc.